Romeo Is A Deadman is Grasshopper Manufacture's new game, and it feels like they are firing on all cylinders. And there's like a big naked headless woman. I'll get to that later. I very joyfully got to play 30 minutes of Romeo Is A Deadman. I got 4 things to tell you about it. 1, this is Grasshopper Manufacture completely coming into its own. It feels like this game is encapsulating the entity of that studio beyond just Suda 51, but actually showcasing all the talents of the team. Number 2, multimedia. I'm telling you, like, practical effects, FMV, pixel art, 3D graphics, animation, comic books are all colliding into one thing, and it is beautiful. Number 3, now, admittedly, I don't always play Grasshopper Manufacture games for their gameplay, but I can say that I actually enjoyed playing this. There's a lot going on in there. I'm excited about it. And number 4, this just feels like Grasshopper Manufacture just like really enjoying itself and just basically leaving nothing on the cutting room floor. Hands down, this is my favorite thing that I played at Gamescom this year. Yes, it is true. I am a fan of Grasshopper Manufacture as a developer. I'm a fan of Suda. You know, maybe of course it's playing to the things that I like, but this just feels special because it actually feels like this game, more than any other game by this developer, is actually encapsulating everything that the developer is capable of. So from the top, it is a retelling of Romeo and Juliet. You play as Romeo, who started as a state trooper and then eventually joins the FBI, and along his way, he meets a girl named Juliet. But somewhere along the way, there's trouble in paradise, things happen. It doesn't quite work out the way the actual story of Romeo and Juliet does. In typical Grasshopper Manufacture, I'm not gonna try and necessarily explain or make sense to you what happens, but eventually Romeo turns into like a tokusatsu Kamen Rider-like superhero, and is, as a part of the FBI, is like a time traveler who is killing all sorts of different monsters and kind of seems to be tiptoeing in this antagonistic relationship with Juliet. It's very surreal and heady in a way that I couldn't quite grasp during my preview, but enough to get an idea that this character Romeo is dealing with stuff. Which brings me to another interesting point that I kind of had. Now, if you're familiar with Grasshopper Manufacture, you probably know No More Heroes or Shadows of the Dam. Both those games feature very macho, over-the-top, crude, lowbrow characters who are like every line away from making a dick joke. That's just the brand of this company. The thing that I found really interesting about this character, Romeo, is that he is kind of more of a young, innocent, coming-of-age sort of character. He's not as crude or as disgusting, or maybe even as self-aware as the other characters in No More Heroes or Shadows of the Dam. And this kind of made for a really interesting, I don't know, switch up in the Grasshopper sort of formula. I am so used to playing those games and having them just sort of like, I don't know, crudeness given to me. But this was a sort of a moment where I saw a character that seemed more sensitive, more innocent. There was a moment when he was being kind of tempted to drink wine from Juliet, and he was almost didn't want to do it, but it kind of was alluding to themes that, according to the director Suda, who I had a chat with, wasn't entirely intentional, but still show through some ways. Now, for the actual gameplay, it is a hack and slash. But it's a hack and slash that has a lot going on. So you have a series of 4 abilities that kind of like spawn a different version of you. There's one to briefly heal you, there's one to freeze enemies around you, there's one that throws projectiles, and then one that poisons enemies. And you kind of use these as a means of crowd control and other things. In my demo, I was in this like swampy, messed up dark forest fighting zombies, but they were in business suits. That's just occurring to me. I was in a swamp, but these like normal old suburban folk in their suits and ties coming to kill me as zombies. Why they're in the swamps? Who's to say? But they were there. I also had 4 melee weapons as well as 4 different guns to choose from. And then on top of that, you have a meter you have to charge. So the longer you go without getting hit, a meter charges up, which then unlocks a special move. There was a lot of things, a lot of tools to use. The preview I played kind of, I admit, didn't do the best job of showcasing all of them because the enemies were fairly spongy. There were some change up of enemy types where they had specific parts on them that you had to use, you had to shoot first to be able to knock a whole bunch of their ammo, their health off before chopping them up. But it all felt good, even though I didn't really feel like I got a full grasp of using it all in a sort of synergy. It still felt solid. It felt like there was a lot of room for creativity. For the guns, there was a pistol, there was a shotgun, there was a minigun, and then there was a bazooka. Then you had 4 melee weapons. The main one, the default one, being a katana. There was like these like fist cuff stabby things, and then there was kind of like a spear, and then there was a big bulky sort of like, you know, big shoulder sword thing. You know what I'm talking about. What are they called? Claymores? And then on top of that is jumps and dashes, as well as a heavy and light attack. So there's a lot to work with. This all ended with a boss fight where you meet Juliet, which is all told through a comic book-like style, and that ends with Juliet tearing her own head off and then growing into a giant mutated naked lady beast that shoots fireballs from her hands. And while this is happening, this sick metal song starts to play that is bespoke to it. In fact, the boss fight is called Every Day is Like a Monday, which is actually a wink and a nod to the Morrissey, I think it's the Smith song, Every Day is Like a Sunday. I would actually ask Suda about this. He didn't know what to name this boss fight, but he thought about how much it would suck if every day was like a Monday. So he wanted this boss fight to feel kind of like that feeling. And it was basically like the Swedish tokusatsu Kamen Rider fighting basically a naked giant headless woman kaiju. And maybe it's not the most appropriate thing to say, but it was beautiful. Now on the multimedia part of it, all of this is spliced together with an array of different mediums, not just graphics like computer graphics, but comic book art. When you die, the game over screen is a prosthetic, like an actual film prosthetic face that is melting. The flesh off it melts and it melts, like then comes back onto it. It's phenomenal. There's like animated scenes that use this amazing like fisheye lens sort of style, like with all this rotoscoping. Art style is changing constantly between cutscenes. I could probably confidently say within like a span of 15 seconds I saw 3 different art styles happening. And when I talked to Suda about this, his sort of thinking was he realized that the people at Grasshopper Manufacture had so many different talents that were so good at one specific thing that he basically just gave them the keys to be like, if you're good at that, if you want to do that, we should find a way to make sense of it in this game. So that's where it kind of comes off, like Grasshopper Manufacture kind of finally extending sort of the guise of the Artur of Suda, but actually kind of coming into its own. Now, it was only 30 minutes. And of course, it was tailored to a specific experience to show a lot of different things off. But if this 30 minutes can keep this up for however long this game ends up being, it is going to be a fist-pumping punk rock album of a video game. In fact, the t-shirts that they were using at the booth was the cover of The Clash's London Calling with the dude smashing the guitar, but instead it was Romeo smashing a sword into the ground. And I think that is absolutely, totally emblematic of what this game feels like. It feels like a bunch of talented, really cool, creative people got in a room and decided to just be like, what can we do? And that comes through, and I feel it. From headless big women to this like Tatsu Metal Man style stuff and Tokusatsu Kamen Rider stuff all smashed together, it's just reminding me that video games have come a long way since back then.
Switch 2 has been revealed, and fans are convinced that Mario Kart 9 has sneakily been announced with it. Thanks to a teaser showing a new course and some Donkey Kong redesigns, it really does seem like after 8 years since the release of Mario Kart 8 on the Switch, we'll be getting Nintendo's next racing outing sometime this year. A new report has sparked excitement among Nintendo fans, claiming that Mario Kart 9 is set to be a major launch title for the highly anticipated Nintendo Switch 2 on March 3, 2025. According to the leak, the Mario Kart game will release alongside other blockbuster titles like Red Dead Redemption 2. This revelation comes as a surprise to many, given the earlier speculation that a rumored new 3D Mario game would lead the launch lineup, with Mario Kart 9 following later, much like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe did after the release of the original Nintendo Switch. However, the new report flips this assumption, suggesting Mario Kart 9 will instead take center stage. The potential Mario Kart 9 launch date leak follows the online reveal of a new Nintendo Switch 2 accessory, designed to transform a Joy-Con into a steering wheel for a more immersive gaming experience. The information originates from a leaker known as Average Lucia Fanatic, who has built a reputation for accuracy in recent months. This individual previously leaked details about the PS5 Pro and the Nintendo Alarmo, both of which proved credible. Their latest claim indicates that the Nintendo Switch 2 and Mario Kart 9 will both launch on March 3, 2025, a nod to the original Nintendo Switch release date of March 3, 2017. The decision to include Mario Kart 9 as a launch title, if true, indicates Nintendo's intent to ensure a strong start for the Switch 2. The Mario Kart franchise has always been a massive draw, with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe becoming one of the best-selling games of all time. By leading with a new entry in the series, Nintendo could potentially replicate this success, driving early console sales and reinforcing the Switch 2's appeal. There is no release date for Mario Kart 9, but considering it was shown off with the Switch 2 reveal, it is almost guaranteed that it will be a launch game. Sadly, we don't know the Switch 2 release date yet either, except that it will be in 2025. We should know more after the next Nintendo Direct in April. Currently, there is no confirmed Mario Kart 9 release date since Nintendo technically hasn't announced the game at all. However, despite the lack of announcements, the recent Switch 2 reveal contained footage of what looks to be a new Mario Kart game, so we'll likely be getting a firm release date for the game during the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct on April 2, 2025. From all the clues in the reveal trailer for the new console, it seems like Mario Kart will be a Switch 2 launch title. That means that as soon as we get a Switch 2 release window, we should have one for Mario's next zooming outing as well. Mario Kart 9 is reportedly being released on March 3rd, 2025. Rumors also suggest that Mario Kart 9 could incorporate F-Zero elements, promising an ultimate Nintendo racing experience that appeals to fans of both iconic franchises. While Nintendo has yet to officially announce the Switch 2, rumors have been swirling for months. Many expect the company to unveil its next-gen console this month, though there has been little concrete information about the launch titles. This makes the Mario Kart 9 report all the more intriguing, as very few details about a new Mario Kart game have surfaced until now. As of now, Nintendo has not commented on the leak or any details surrounding Mario Kart 9, and the company's history suggests it is unlikely to address unconfirmed reports. However, if the rumors hold, the simultaneous release of Mario Kart 9 and the Nintendo Switch 2 could be a game-changer for both the franchise and the console's launch success. While fans eagerly await official confirmation from Nintendo, the March 3rd release date provided by Average Lucia Fanatic has certainly set the gaming world abuzz. If the Switch 2 is indeed revealed this month, it may not be long before fans get clarity on whether Mario Kart 9 will truly headline its launch lineup. Technically, Mario Kart 9 could be a cross-platform game, but the only system we know for sure it will run on is the Switch 2. We would guess it would be a Switch 2 exclusive. We know that if Mario Kart 9 is indeed on its way, it will likely be a Switch 2 game. However, nothing has been fully confirmed just yet. The good news is that Nintendo said that its new console will have backwards compatibility with some games, so Nintendo Switch owners may be able to pick up the title once, and if it releases without grabbing the new Switch 2 as well. One thing is for certain though, like with all Mario games, platforms will be strictly Nintendo owned and operated, so don't expect to play Mario Kart 9 on your Steam Deck or PS5 anytime soon. While we don't have an official trailer for Mario Kart 9, fans are convinced that we saw our first glimpse of the game during the Switch 2 reveal. This is technically a trailer for the Switch 2, but it is also the only look we have at Mario Kart 9 at the moment. We see a cast of Mario characters racing down a dusty, western-looking highway in the Mario Brothers circuit in various karts and motorcycles. Sadly, the footage is quite brief, so not a lot can be gleaned. In the teaser, we see a desert track, with drivers zooming past Yoshi's gas station. Footage of the new Mario Kart is a blink and you'll miss it kind of deal. However, keen-eyed Nintendo enthusiasts have already spotted tons of details, like the fact that Donkey Kong has had a few design tweaks to align more with the character model seen in the recent Super Mario Bros. Movie. We expect to see a more in-depth trailer for Mario Kart 9 during April's Nintendo Direct. The small bit of gameplay we have to work with shows us just the basics we would expect from a Mario Kart 9. There are multiple racers, drifting, and the choice of karts and bikes. We don't see any other tracks besides Mario Brothers Circuit or even a power-up. No doubt there will be an entire roster of courses, cups, modes, and new power-ups in the final game, but those are still under wraps. We also don't know what the new gimmick for Mario Kart 9 will be, if anything. Each entry has added a new mechanic to the core gameplay. So many are expecting something special for Mario Kart 9. If the trailer shown during the recent Switch 2 reveal is indeed Mario Kart 9, then from what we saw from the footage, we know that there will be a new desert track that seems to be called the Mario Brothers Circuit. In this track, we see there are also 24 placements. This is a series first, as we've only typically seen 12 racers on a track in the series. Exciting times! In the clip, we don't get a good look at all 24 racers. However, we do see shots of Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Toad, Daisy, Rosalina, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, and Peach. We're sure that other series mainstays, such as Wario, Waluigi, Boo, and Shy Guy, will also get confirmed soon. Along with confirming some characters, we also see that there is a wide range of vehicles already on display. Of course, Rosalina has her iconic blue motorbike, and the wide range of different styles on display in the clip also hints towards customization returning in the game as well. And there you have it. This is everything we know about Mario Kart 9 so far. Some additional info might be unveiled over the course of time, so make sure to check back, as we'll be updating our channel soon as more information get revealed from developers and all that. In the meantime, why not take a look at all the latest information surrounding the other hotly anticipated titles present in our channel. So guys, that's it. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please